Hey YouTube, welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be talking about the 2020 through 2026 Chevrolet Corvettes and answer the question, are they worth it? These cars are around 6 years old now. In particular, we have a 2020 and a 2023 right here. And why do I feel like I'm qualified to answer this question? Well, as you guys may know, I work for a company called Fisher Luxury Rental. We have had 4 of the C8 Corvettes after the past 2 years or so. We've had our fair share of reliability issues, customer concerns, driving experience, etc. So we feel as if we're qualified to answer this question. Going to be going on a little POV drive in the 2020 today. Might take the 2023 out. But yeah, we're going to be answering the question, is the C8 Corvette worth it? Without further ado, let's get right into the video. All right, now that we got that out of the way, we are going to be breaking this video down into 4 key points. First of all, we're going to be talking about the pricing and the options over each of these cars, including the 1LT, 2LT, 3LT trims, or 1LZ, 2LZ, 3LZ trims for the Z06 models. Going to be talking about the cosmetic reliability and, of course, the mechanical reliability, including the drama with our Z06 and our 2023 Corvette here. And the last thing, of course, is going to be the driving dynamics compared to other cars in its class and other cars also over its class. And the first car we have up here, this one is going to be our 2023 in Arctic White. This one is a 3LT. It's got a couple of stuff done to it. It's got the carbon aerodynamic package. I'm not exactly sure what company makes this, but from the factory, it is optioned with the snowflake wheels. Again, the Arctic White paint. This is going to be a 3LT. And it's going to be a hardtop convertible. Of course, with it being a 3LT, it's got the GT2 bucket seats, it's got Alcantara and the Napa leather, and as well as the front end lift, the front end cameras, and all the other goodies that the 3LTs come with. Going back to the outside, this one also is optioned with the high-rise spoiler, and this is the only car that we've had that's had an aftermarket exhaust. And this one is from, I believe, Corsa. Yep, one by Corsa. And this, in my opinion, it changes the car completely. We'll get into that at a little later time, but just wanted to go over the trim here. And the 2023 over here, this one is also going to be a 3LT, except this one is the anniversary edition, so it has the anniversary edition badges, the anniversary edition wheels, and it's got all the other miscellaneous anniversary edition stuff, like it says on the window. I'm not sure if you guys can see it over there. It's got there on the window, all the stitching and stuff, Bose sound, all that fun stuff. It's got it right there as well. Not that much different, except this is going to be a more pearlescent white. I'm not sure the paint code on this one. And then this one also has the black top. It's a little bit dusty, excuse that. And that one's got the white interior. But other than that, this one is a little bit more untouched than this one. So this is, if you're going to be looking one straight from the factory, this is probably what you're going to be looking at here on the 2023. And the other 2 cars that I have mentioned, the Z06 and the other 2023 in black that we had, those were also 3LZ and 3LT cars. So they both had pretty much the same options as these 2 here. The only thing that I can say is that the black one did not have the front end lift because the previous owner bought it and wanted to lower it. But other than that, they're all 3LT, 3LZ cars. I did come across a 1LT from another renter, which I'll throw up on screen here. But the 1LT here mostly just comes with bare bones seats and no options. Doesn't have the front end lift or the front end camera. It's pretty kind of a low end option. Again, I'll throw a video up right here. The 2LT is going to have a little bit more options. It's going to have the heated and cooled seats, the more premium sound, the heads-up display, and a little bit more tech. The 3LT, which is the ones that we all have, are all going to have the nicer leather and the nicer seats. That's the main thing. So if you want a happy medium and don't really care about the seats, I'd say the 2LT is going to be the best option. But in my opinion, the 3LT, the seats are worth it personally. But again, that's a personal thing. Specifically, our 2023 in black, that I'm going to throw up another photo, had the competition sport seats, I believe is what they're called. Those are my favorite seats that I've sat in. Unfortunately, none of the other cars we've had the competition sport seats. They've just had the GT2 seats, which are still great. But if you have a little extra bread to throw at these cars, I'd recommend getting the competition sport seats. And one more trim that I want to talk about is going to be the Z51 package. So I have driven one without the Z51 package, and I can tell you the main thing that I noticed is that these brakes are really, really loud. They definitely stop a lot better than the previous ones, but they are quite noisy, and unfortunately we do get quite a few complaints from the brakes because of how squeaky they are. Unfortunately, that is just the nature of these brakes, but they definitely do help with the performance of the vehicle. Also, you get the tighter suspension setup with the Z51 package, which I can feel a little bit. The other Corvettes are a little bit more floaty, if that makes sense. In particular, the Z06, obviously, with it being a Z06, that one definitely felt a lot better. But Z51, is it worth it? If you're going to be tracking your car, sure, but if not, I'd recommend just staying. Quiet brakes makes it feel a lot better. And now time for the next section of the video. We are just going to briefly go over the cosmetic reliability of these cars. There's not a whole lot to go over, so this is going to be a really short section of the video, and then we'll get on to what I'm excited for, talking about the reliability of these cars. But first things first, only a couple of things on this 2020. Now, with this one being 6 years old, I'm not super surprised that this has happened. The first thing is actually a very common thing on these cars, and it is the dash leather right here, the dash peel. Again, a very common thing. You can actually go to Chevy and get this fixed for free. Unfortunately, we kind of got a little lazy and we haven't gotten it fixed yet, but you can go to Chevy and get this dash peel fixed for free. It's not a terrible thing, but if you want to keep your cars looking really nice, I'd recommend getting this fixed. And going back to the outside of the car, the only other cosmetic issue that we've had with this car is going to be the paint bubbling, starting to bubble right here. Now we did hit this with a little bit of wet sanding or some kind of detail or paint correction thing. I'm not 100% sure exactly what they did, and they did knock it down quite a bit, so it does look a lot better. And we are also in the shade, so it doesn't look as bad as it does in person. But yeah, again, with it being a 6-year-old car, not super surprised, but other than that, this car has actually been pretty good cosmetically. No other real known wear spots other than the aftermarket carbon, but again, that's aftermarket, so we're really not super surprised there. And moving on to our 2023, this car has actually held up very well compared to the other cars. The only really cause for concern for this one is going to be the Alcantara interior. The 2020 has an Alcantara steering wheel and some partial Alcantara, but it's mostly leather with just a little bit of Alcantara. This one is going to be the full Alcantara. And looking at the rest of it, it's held up all right. Only the real main contact points, such as the center console, the steering wheel, and the door handle points. There's some wear, not a whole lot. We've tried to take care of this as best as we can, but as you may know, if you do know, Alcantara is very difficult to take care of. But other than the Alcantara, this car has held up pretty good. No real paint concerns or anything of that nature. The other cars that we have, such as the 2023 Z06, that one did experience some paint issues. I'll throw up some pictures now, as well as our 2023 Black Stingray Coupe. The Black Stingray Coupe, I don't have any pictures of it, but it did also have some paint fade. As far as the interior goes, interiors have held up fairly well. And one more thing I forgot to go over. On specifically this white one, the other cars held up fine, but on specifically this white one, we are getting somewhere right here, mostly where you get in and out. On the Z06 and the coupe that we had, it held up perfectly fine, and on this car over here, I'll just come and show you, it's held up pretty well. But other than that, those are the real main cosmetic reliability concerns that we've had. And again, this one is a 2020 and the other cars are 2023. So we have 6-year-old car and then 3-year-old cars. All right, and with that out of the way, we are going to get into the reliability section, which is probably the one everyone wants to talk about. We're going to be getting in this car specifically because this car has had quite a lot of drama in regards to reliability compared to the rest of the cars. But I'm gonna get this thing cold started. We'll get this thing going, talk about the reliability, and then when we talk about the driving dynamics, we'll hop into the 2020, mostly because I think this one drives a lot better with the exhaust system. So we'll get this thing cold started, we'll talk about the reliability, and then we'll go from there. right, got her all warmed up now. Get in this guy and get going. All right, and we'll go over the most reliable car and the least reliable car. First things first, we have our 2020 Corvette. That one we purchased at about 2,000 miles, and it now has 17,000 miles on it, and it has had no reliability concerns. That car has been excellent. Cross your fingers it stays that way. But yeah, really no concern there. Moving on to the next one, we have our 2023 that we have sold, the 2023 black coupe with red interior. That one has been okay, I guess. We purchased that one at around 5,000 miles, took it all the way to 35,000 miles, and then sold it, or traded it in actually. But that one in particular, only two real main reliability concerns kinda that came up. One, the check engine light did come on for a transmission related issue. The dealer told us that they couldn't replicate the issue, and they ended up clearing the code, tried to replicate it, nothing came back, so they just gave the car back to us. So I don't know exactly what was going on there. The transmission was behaving fine, it just kind of threw a random check engine light. But besides that, the other main thing is the AC condenser actually went out in that car at like really soon after we got it too. Luckily that was covered under warranty. I'm not sure if that's a super common thing on these cars. I think it was just kind of a one-off deal, because the other cars seem to be all right. But other than that, that car was great. That car is the car we put the most miles on, and that's also why we no longer have it. Unfortunately, it just kind of mileaged out for our fleet. Up next, we have the Z06 and the car that I'm in right now, the 2023. I'll go ahead and just talk about this one. This one has probably been the most unreliable, I'd say, but it's not necessarily its fault for the engine issue, and that engine issue being that the engine blew up on this car. This car has 28,000 miles. We actually purchased this one at 6,000 miles, and at 23,000 miles, the engine was no more. It was out on a rental at the time, and I'll just throw some of the renter's driving behaviors here. But I think it was partially the car just getting beat on so much, as you'll see from the clips that I'm showing here. But also, these cars are also made to take a beating, so I'm not necessarily saying it was 100% the renter's fault or 100% the car's fault, but still. Not only that, we also had some other check engine light codes come on. We had check engine light come on 3 times for the same transmission issue. Just like our 2023, check engine light would come on for a transmission code, take it in, they'd clear the code, it wouldn't replicate the issue, and so they'd give the car back to us. First 2 times we took it in, and on the 3rd time we actually ended up just keeping the car and driving it around for the next 3-4 days, and the code actually disappeared. So again, it's been 5,000 miles since the last time the check engine light's been on. It hasn't happened since, or actually, excuse me, 5,000 miles right before the engine blew up is when the last time it happened. And other than that, it's been okay with the transmission. I know the transmission is a huge cause for concern on these cars. We've never had any transmission failure, just random check engine lights for the transmission, but the transmissions have ended up okay, I guess. And then the last reliability concern with this car is this car actually overheated on a renter when he took it up to Sedona. Turns out the transmission cooler failed. It was leaking out coolant, leaked out enough coolant that, yeah, it was overheating. Luckily, we were able to get it back home safely, talk to the client, everything was all right. But still, I mean, this car has been quite the drama queen. We're actually going to be looking at getting rid of this one here soon and possibly getting into a different one. But for now, this has probably been the most diverse as far as reliability issues concerned. And moving on to our final car is going to be the 2023 Z06, which we bought that one brand new. We ordered it from Chevy with 0 miles on it, went through the whole break-in process, and took it up to 23,000 miles before we sold it. That car was one of the most fun cars to drive. really amazing driving experience, especially for the price tag. But the main reason why we sold it is it feels like every 3 to 6 months we had an issue with the electronics. The car would randomly throw itself into neutral and throw every single light on the dash and would lose complete communication with the car's PCMs and ECUs, computers, every 3 to 6 months. And I don't know, we'd take it to the dealer and then we'd say, hey, this happened, and then we'd leave it there overnight. They'd start the car the next morning and the car would be fine. The car would fix itself. Almost like we had to turn the car off, let it sit overnight, and the car would be fine again. It was really weird. Or what we also learned is we can disconnect the battery for 20 minutes, put the battery back in, and the car would behave fine for another 3 months. It wouldn't be act up. But in the moment, it was a very, very concerning issue, and an honestly dangerous issue, because while you're driving, it'll just throw all the lights on the dash and throw itself into neutral while you're driving. It actually happened to me when I was on the way to drop the car off from a rental, delivered to the airport, and yeah, it's not the best experience, which is the main reason why we sold it. I mean, obviously driving it was one of the most fun cars you could ever drive, but just the electronic issues were major. Eventually, I want to say 3 months before we sold it, 4 months before we sold it, the car, we took it to the dealer, and this time the car stayed with throwing all the codes, and it didn't fix itself overnight. So the dealer actually looked at it and they told us, hey, I think it needs a new ECU or something, some computer module. So the dealer replaced the computer module, and then the car acted fine again until, again, 4 months later, we had the same exact issue, and the car threw itself into neutral, and the next morning it fixed itself again. It was at that point we ended up just selling the car back to the dealer. Again, we ended up putting like 23,000 miles on it, so it got its use out of, but that car just, it was more just the customer experience with having the car break down on them, like, and again, just driving down the road, it would shut off on you. Well, not the engine, but the car would throw itself in neutral. So we just had to get rid of it, because we pride ourselves in customer service and customer experience, and that is not the best customer experience. So that's why we ended up getting rid of that car. But other than that, yeah, that really sums it up for all the reliability concerns for these cars. Again, the main ones that a lot of people talk about are the transmissions. Yes, we've had our fair share of transmission check engine lights, but we've had no actual mechanical work done to the transmissions. And also, just want to point out, these cars are perfectly serviced. We service them all on time when it tells you to. We've had the break-in services and the break-in periods all done. And yeah, these cars are meticulously maintained. Yeah, with them being rentals, they do get beat up on sometimes. We do talk to renters if they are beating on the cars too much, and typically they back off. But as far as maintenance, these cars are maintained meticulously. But nonetheless, they are Corvettes at the end of the day, so I feel like it's been hit or miss. Obviously, the 2020 has been great, but the 2023 Anniversary Edition and Z06 have been rough. All right, and with that being said, I think we're going to make our way back to base and then get into our 2020 to talk about my favorite part about the car, the driving experience. Again, I'm not going to get into too much detail until we get back, so we'll see you back in a second. Oh yeah, I just can't get enough of how good this car sounds. All right, now we're gonna get in the 2020 here. Oh yeah, definitely like the all black interior a little bit better, and the tinted windows also makes it feel a little bit nicer. All right, first thing to note is that this car, compared to like another supercar or anything in kind of that class, this car is definitely a lot more comfortable to drive. So this is very popular among older couples that want to, you know, go out and have a little bit of fun in a nice car. So this car is very very much more comfortable than say like the Porsche 911 or the Audi R8 or the Lamborghini or any of those kind of cars. But with that being said, it still does have its fair share of track capabilities, especially in Z mode. This one does have the touring mode, the Z mode, which is Sport Plus, and then there's the Sport mode. Well, I guess technically they would call it track. But the suspension, you can tell, definitely stiffens up in the sport modes, but in the touring modes, it's definitely a lot more comfortable. All right, and probably the most notable part about driving these Corvettes is going to be the cockpit feel. It's definitely very driver-oriented, as you can tell from the my head cam here. Everything kind of facing towards you, again, for the cockpit style, which is very good for a driver's car. And this is definitely a driver's car. Like I said, it is a lot more comfortable than some other cars, but it's still considered a driver's car. Main notes for performance are going to be the mid to low range, specifically in the 0 to 60. This car has been known to keep up with cars way above its class from the low end. This car, you can definitely tell, tends to die as far as the top end power goes. But if all you're doing is like some street driving, a little bit of stop and go, stoplight stuff, this car is perfect for that. And realistically, you don't really need all that power to be going that fast, especially on a rental car. Wink, wink. But yeah, other than that, that's really all the comments I have on it. It's a very easy to drive car. A lot of performance for the money, but definitely recommend getting an exhaust system for it. Definitely changes the car here. A little bit of spin action for you guys. All right, unfortunately, we're gonna have to be wrapping up here soon, so I'm gonna take this car back to the base. We'll go over kind of some of my final thoughts here, and also we'll do a couple more little polls here and there, which I'll insert after this. But yeah, other than that, I'll see you back at base, and we'll go over kind of the final conclusion for these cars. For this thing.